Hey friends, thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you being here. The topic for discussion today is, should you feel hungry when you are dieting? And how much hunger is too much hunger? So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn on your notifications, leave a comment, ask a question, send this video to anyone that you think may find it helpful. So let's dive right in. So how much hunger is too much hunger? And should you be hungry at all when you're dieting? I would preface this by saying that most people at some point during their diet, when they're working on fat loss in particular, so they're creating a caloric deficit, are going to experience some hunger. So right off the hop, a little bit of hunger here and there is normal and honestly to be expected. I don't want to, gloss it over and say like, you'll never be hungry if you diet this way. I think that it's not realistic. And you really want to manage your expectations and kind of be prepared for, experiencing a little bit of hunger if fat loss is your goal. Okay, so if someone is just making changes to their nutrition because they just want to, improve their nutrition intake, they want to have more energy, they want to build some muscle, they just want to feel their best, that individual doesn't necessarily need to experience hunger, right? So it's really about that energy balance. So when we talk about fat loss and losing body fat, we're talking about creating a caloric deficit. So we need to, take in a little bit less than we expend, or vice versa. When we're just looking to maintain our body composition and we just, like I said, want to have some great energy and feel good, at that point in time, like we are in touch with our hunger cues, we're probably eating so that, we're satisfied and we're not feeling any hunger. But with a deficit, you're going to probably run up against some hunger at times. So we can look at a couple different things here. You can help offset some of that hunger by making sure that your protein is set moderate to high. So I think that's like first and foremost a really important part of any type of diet where fat loss is the goal. You want to do a targeted fat loss. You're not trying to burn off lean tissue. And if you weightlift or you do any type of like CrossFit or any sort of exercise, then a higher protein intake is essential to help you keep that tissue on. Lots of research out there that shows us that a moderate to high protein intake while we diet down can help maintain lean tissue in a caloric deficit. So that's an important part. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong when they use like online fitness calculators and stuff like that, or any kind of calculator that sort of just says, here are your calories, and people sort of make up their own composition there, like low protein, high carbs and fat. It's not going to operate or behave the same way as if we had gone in with a little bit of a higher protein intake, okay? So it's more satisfying, more satiating, so you'll feel fuller longer with a higher protein intake, in addition to keeping that tissue on your body. Eating for volume. So we talk a little bit about this when in terms of dieting. We want to choose nutrient-dense foods as opposed to calorically dense foods. So that's when we start talking a lot about vegetables and fruit. So I will often advise clients to try to hit that 800 gram mark. Some clients will go even above that. So, entering in your protein for the day and then thinking fruits and vegetables, I want to get 800 grams. Like, how do I do that? So choosing as much of your food from fruits and vegetables as possible. Obviously, like, you cannot go too crazy here because too much fiber is never a good thing. And it's just it could backfire in some ways. So I think 800 grams is kind of a sweet spot, but again, there is a little bit of variance from person to person. So it's filling. It also pulls water in. It makes you feel like you're getting more food on your plate, so visibly, and it just takes time to eat it. So that's a big thing that will help offset hunger as well. And then the question, how hungry should you be? If you're obsessing over food, like you just can't stop thinking about it, you're really like super low energy, and like I said, just that obsessive, like, when is my next meal? That's all I can think about. there's a couple things to look at. Either you need to address the points I made earlier about increasing your protein and increasing your volume. So sure, your calories are set right, you're just not making the right food choices. So you're choosing like nut butters and like high, fattier cuts of meat and stuff that really like, you don't get a lot of food. Your calories are, you're eating a Pop-Tart instead of choosing something that is going to take up more space, like those fruits and vegetables and like those leaner cuts of protein. So you want to look at those two pieces first, make sure that you're building your nutrition to look like that. And then from there, we might just be too restricted. You might be running too harsh of a deficit. So if you're someone that's already lean, even if you are someone that has like more fat mass, more stored energy, and you're running like a really hard deficit because you work out really hard and you're busy and you're running around all the time, what'll end up happening is you'll just start, grabbing little extra bites here and there. You might go crazy on the weekend with your high day because you're just so starving, and you won't make any forward progress. It'll be super frustrating, and then you're spending a ton of time hungry as well. So at that point in time, increase your calories, have less of a harsh deficit, and just lean into like that sort of long game approach. So a little bit of hunger is normal. There are things that you can do to be less hungry. And again, back to that for 1 second, watch your output. I think that's a really big thing when people are attempting fat loss and they're dieting down. They sometimes do too much in terms of like exercise and like non-exercise activity. So like, I'm gonna walk 20,000 steps, plus I'm gonna lift tons of weight and do CrossFit, and you're in a deficit. That's a nightmare for trying to keep, muscle on your body, as well as just like getting good night's sleep because you're just so exhausted, so hungry. Like it's kind of there's definitely a law of diminishing return there. So too much output is not a good thing. So it's the right balance, right? So making sure that you don't do things that drive up that hunger and make you too hungry, either through expenditure, like output, or you're just too restricted, okay? So there is a sweet spot. It is possible. And then in terms of the length of dieting, that's going to be a little bit different for everybody. Again, the leaner you are, I'd say the shorter that window should be, anywhere from 3 to 4 months before you go back into a maintenance phase. And then for somebody who is carrying more fat mass, they can diet a little bit longer. At that point, you're just really communicating with your coach, or you're checking in with yourself and saying like, how am I doing here? Like, I'm 6 months in, I probably need to take a little bit of a break just for my like mental and emotional well-being, and to have, experience some physiological benefits of just getting my metabolism, kind of bringing it up a tiny bit, that BMR, and sort of giving myself a bit of a diet break, okay? I hope you guys found this helpful. Again, please send this to anyone that you think may find it helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them. And I really appreciate you being here. Thanks, guys.